Miss Susanna Jacobs, how are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So usually what I start out with my interviews, I ask where you're at, and you're obviously in California.
hmm
What part of California are you in?
I'm in Los Angeles.
You're in
In
Los
the
Angeles. Okay.
Yeah, in the West Valley.
How's LA doing with all this shutdown? Is it opening back up now?
It's starting to get normal. But
Yeah.
I had like a little niche of normal life because my gym really didn't close. So we kind of
Oh, that's cool. Is it like a private gym or?
yeah, I mean, it was they pissed off quite a few people, but they didn't really seem to care.
Yeah.
And you know, it,
Yeah.
it stayed open and they were like right across the street. So it was totally weird going from, being out and about where everything was like, just shut down, masks, everything else. And then you like walk in there and, see people like it was like 2019 all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved LA. I competed out there in 2019 for the police Olympics.
Where was that?
It was in LA. It was right there. It was at the convention center.
Okay, the one in Culver City. Oh, the actual convention center, right?
The
Because a
actual
lot of
convention.
a lot of John Lindsay shows are in Culver City at the Veterans Memorial.
Hmm. No, this wasn't the Veterans Memorial. This was right at the.
The same place where the LA Fit Expo is.
Yes, yes, yeah. It was hosted by the LAPD and all that. It was really good. Had a good time.
I wish
So
I went because
yeah.
I was dieting in 2019, and usually when I'm dieting and I have like you're very limited on like what you can do for fun.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
actually going to a show is on the approved list of things because nobody really cares if you show up with your Tupperware containers of food
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Well, I had heard all the horror stories about LA and everything and how the people were and all that. And we loved it. Everybody was great. People were good. Traffic sucked, but
yeah,
um, a little expensive. But
yeah.
so,
I've never lived anywhere without traffic, so
yeah. How long you been in California?
eight, maybe about 8 years,
Mhm.
maybe nine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, how often do you go over to Gold's Gym in Venice?
You know what? I go there when people are visiting.
Mhm.
So it's about from where I live. It could take me 40 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. It really depends on the time of day and what day it is.
Mhm.
But so it's not like at a location where it could be my go-to gym.
Mhm.
Close enough where if I have somebody visiting, especially another competitor, that's
Mhm.
usually where we'll go.
Mhm.
Or like I remember when I returned from my hiatus, so I guess it's 2018. I remember when I was like 1 week out, I'm like, I'm just gonna go to Gold's because it just seemed like a good place to go and you're kind of like tired and dieted, but you look awesome. Like
Mhm.
maybe you'll get like a
Yeah.
little fire under your ass if you're there as
Yeah.
opposed to your normal gym.
Mhm. Yeah. I did the same thing after I was done competing. I said, "Oh no, we got to go. I got to go in there and work out. This this is the only time I'm going to be ripped and got to walk around Gold's Gym for a little bit."
It's
So.
true. You gotta take all the pictures. There's like a
Mhm.
certain area inside where like the lighting comes in perfect and you just look amazing. Because everybody everybody like tags the gym from like the
Mhm.
like, same
Mhm.
spot.
Yeah. 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 Cool. So before we'll talk about your competitions you've done and stuff like that. When did you start competing?
I think either 2011 or 12.
Mhm.
2011 or 12. Yeah.
And did you
I
start with bodybuilding?
I did. I've never done anything other than bodybuilding. And
Okay.
it's interesting because you hear people say like they got to start out in some division and like work their way up,
Mhm.
but I had a couple things going on. First of all, I didn't know any better. Like
Mhm.
The other thing is there's weight classes. So it's like, you don't, if you're a 105-pound woman, then guess what? You're going to be a lightweight. It's not like you don't have to, start out in figure. It was just a matter for me. I looked at it like, my body fats and my legs and my butt. And by the time they look okay to be on stage, the rest of me is shredded. You know what I mean? Like I will be straight veiny and grainy once I would get some splits and separation in my legs. So I would be bringing a certain type of condition and certain parts that's too much for other divisions just, by the time. So it just seemed easier. Like, let's just get all the fat off and get shredded and do bodybuilding rather than having to like figure out, where I best fit. But the other thing is that year, that's why I don't know if it was 2011 or 2012. It was the first year the physique division was a thing.
Okay.
And they didn't have, when they first came out, they were only on the national level. They didn't have like physique, I guess, that first season.
Yeah, I didn't have a pro division, I don't think. Did they?
Yeah, so they were all national level because they were basically trying to get the pros, right? And they weren't at the local level. So I could have been a brand new competitor and just went to some national level show as physique. I mean, probably wouldn't be the wisest idea, but I could have. So the guy who was prepping me, who was also a judge in New Jersey, was like, listen, I'm judging and I don't even know what the heck what it's supposed to be. So why don't you just do bodybuilding and get your feet wet, and then we'll see what the division looks like and take it from there. And then that's during the time when like Dana Lynn Bailey was Ms. Olympia, and the look is completely different than what it is today. So at that point, I was not best suited for that division.
Yeah. And when did you get your pro card?
2018.
2018.
Yeah, so I competed for, I think I stopped maybe the last show. I did 2011 or 12. Again, you know what I'm going to do? This is how I don't know about you, but do you use your phone to like tell you everything about your life? Like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got the timeline in there.
Yeah, I'm like, I can just go back. Okay, I was definitely, okay, so I competed in 2011. I'm going through like the years, and I'm like, there's pictures in 2011.
That's close to me. I started in 2010.
So in 2011, I did first show was Garden State, and when I lived in New Jersey, and then I competed in 2011, and then I competed national level shows for the next 3 years. So 2014 is when I said I'm either turning pro or I'm going to start a family. And I got second place at the USA. Now that it was great. Everybody's congratulating me on my pro card. I'm like, no, we don't get a pro card. Like physique, if you got second place in your class, you got a pro card. But for bodybuilding, you had to be top 2 in the overall.
The overall, yeah.
So, I took a break and I became a mom. And then I think it was like the month after I stopped breastfeeding, I started working with the coach again. Like I was like, boom. And so yeah, my daughter was like a year and change when I got my pro card. So at 2018, I returned after my 4-year hiatus, and I did the Ms. International, which was, so that's the Friday before the Chicago Pro.
Okay.
So the Friday they have the Ms. International, and then the Saturday, I mean, I think they have some of the other divisions, but for women's bodybuilding, the pros go on the next day. So I
now, did you find it difficult? I'm sorry. Did you find it difficult after having your child to get lean again?
Nope. And this is the thing. Like, I mean, I know everybody's different, and I'm not I'm not a hard gainer. I don't stay lean. I get a bubble butt like 2 weeks after my show. I'm already like budging out. I mean, this is my diet face, and it's huge still. Like I have like a giant pumpkin head like after competing. But I'm not somebody that stays really lean, but I I don't know. I honestly think it's probably from breastfeeding
Mhm.
because I did that for maybe 7, 8 months,
Mhm.
and I really didn't. I mean, I think I was 5 pounds over my pre-pregnancy weight a week after she was born. I
Mhm.
mean, I lost muscle, so it's really my body composition was crap. I was soft and small,
Mhm.
but I wasn't like fat or I mean, they didn't look like a
Mhm.
big.
Mhm.
And the thing is, I kind of didn't mind because I was in between weight classes,
Mhm.
and I was because I'm only 5'3", so I was either the short heavyweight
Mhm.
or I would struggle to be a light heavyweight,
Mhm.
and I was able to, and even then I scooted like right in at 140, and that's the
Mhm.
heaviest weight. I was like 140.3 or something,
Uh,
but it was a little bit easier in that I had lost some muscle, so
mhm.
I didn't spend time trying to really like put back on size. I just took where I was at and just tried to do my prep was more like a recomp. Like my weight changed 10 pounds during my like a
Mhm.
20 prep.
Mhm. Now, before you started competing, were you pretty athletic? Did you play sports in high school or anything like that?
I was athletic, but not. Uh, I mean, I more creative. So I mean, I did competition cheerleading, and
Okay.
we were on ESPN when we were in high school. Like we
Mhm.
weren't just on the we weren't really just on the track cheering for sports. We were working with gymnastics instructors and doing all
Mhm.
that stuff.
Mhm.
I also coached,
Mhm.
which is what I was doing up until I decided to compete. But I did martial arts. I did softball. Um, I mean, I taught swimming for over 10
Mhm.
years.
Mhm.
But so yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. Now, did you find it? Now, first of all, you're my first female bodybuilder on my show, so
Woo.
that's awesome. So I'm asking questions actually that for myself too. Um, did you find that it was easy for you to put on muscle when you started training?
Yeah, for me, dieting is like losing the fat is way harder than putting on muscle.
Hmm.
And I'm one of the like smaller big girls, but that's still the case. Like
Hmm.
so in 2020, I when I say I took off, like I took off. I basically my diet consisted of goldfish crackers and martinis
Hmm.
or Captain and Diet. Like it was either alcohol, some form of
Yeah.
booze, and goldfish crackers because
Yeah.
I went back to school.
Okay.
So and I was like, I can't, there's only so many things you can do. So I was
Hmm.
like, competing's going to sit aside, and I happened to pick like a really good year to
Hmm.
not compete. And
Yeah, because COVID hit, right?
yeah, and I
Hmm.
already knew I wasn't going to compete, so I was like, perfect.
Hmm.
I was like, I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
But what happened is when I decided to get back in shape in January, um, I went from like eating like 2 meals a day to eating six again, and
Hmm.
I like shot up like 15 pounds in like 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of those meals were I was drinking because I had no appetite.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the growing happens quick, but dieting will take me like a pretty long time.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm a fat kid at heart.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that gets cuter anyway.
um. So let's see. These are the shows that I researched on you: Chicago Pro 2018, Arizona Pro, Chicago Pro again 2019, Linda Murray Pro, and the Arizona Pro in 2019. And what am I missing? And then the Rising Phoenix is what you did last year, right?
So the Arizona Pro for my division is the Rising Phoenix.
Okay.
So at every other division other than bodybuilders, they'll call it the Arizona Pro. But
Hmm.
because that was our Olympia, that's
Hmm.
why it was Rising Phoenix.
Okay. And
So
you're a Wings of Strength ambassador.
yes, I
Okay.
am. I was in 2019 as well,
Okay.
and
And
not
that
2020 because I was boozing and eating goldfish.
okay. And maybe you can kind of explain to everybody what Wings of Strength is, because it was obviously it was started by Jake Wood, who owns the Olympia now.
Yes.
So that's basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of more of a women's show. It's an all women's show.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, we have, so Wings of Strength as an organization was started when the women's bodybuilding division was pulled from the Olympia,
Mhm.
and they were already, sponsoring pro shows, but they were able to create a world championship to take the place of the Olympia,
Mhm.
and that's the Rising Phoenix,
Mhm.
and it takes place in Arizona, and there's all women's divisions at that show. So if I were a women's physique competitor or a figure competitor, I would be going to the Arizona Pro. But for the women's bodybuilding division, that was their world championship. And now that's, as you had mentioned, Jake Wood had, owns the Olympia now. It's, we still have the Rising Phoenix. So and I don't know if this might change in the future as they kind of figure out what works best. But right now the Rising Phoenix is invitational.
Okay.
So, and the Olympia is qualification. So I happen to I didn't apply for that this year just because I did it my rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it the second year I competed, so I just wanted to get to the Olympia.
Now I think the Arnold, which do you see they announced the Arnold's coming back this year?
Yeah, I just saw that as well. Now I
Um,
don't know.
and I think the Arnold's invitational too, right?
The Arnold's been invitational, yeah.
Yeah.
So the way it worked for me in 2018 when I turned pro, um, I was the overall winner, and I think that's the one that you're looking at now. And
yeah, this is your posing routine here, I think.
yeah, I think that looks based on my hairstyle. That's when I turned pro. So I know it'll say Chicago Pro behind me, but that's because it was the same show.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it worked is the 3 pro card winners from the Ms. International were asked to make their pro debut the next day at the Chicago Pro.
Mm-hmm.
So this here, based on the posing suit I'm wearing, is actually the Chicago Pro. So basically I made my debut the day after I turned pro. So that's where I got 4th.
Yeah, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm jealous of your legs.
Well, because I was the overall winner, that's why I got to go to the Rising Phoenix. It was for me personally, I didn't have to, it was an invitation.
Mm-hmm.
But in 2019, I had to qualify. So that's why I went back and did the Chicago Pro and got 3rd. And I needed more points. So that's, I think you mentioned the Linda Murray show. That was 1 week later.
Mm-hmm.
So basically I went from Chicago, flew back to LA, and like hopped back on a plane to Virginia like 2 days later. It was like all over. Like, what time zone am I in?
Yeah, you sound like you travel a lot. I mean, we were communicating for a little while. You seem like you got a pretty busy schedule.
I'm flying to Phoenix tomorrow.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Now you mentioned Linda Murray. You met her?
Yes. So and I've got to work with her as well because she works with Wings of Strength. So as a brand ambassador, she's at the shows as well. And in fact, she just interviewed me with Alina Popa earlier this week for FemFlex Friday. So Wings of Strength has a show that comes out on Fridays, and it's with Linda and Alina, and they're usually interviewing because it's FemFlex Friday. They're emailing some female athletes, and
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, so it should be out
That's
soon.
cool.
They were interviewing teachers.
Oh, okay.
So there's 3 of us.
Oh, cool. Now, I don't know if you've seen any of my shows, but I just interviewed Ron Love. You know Ron Love?
Yes, I actually started watching some of your shows.
Ron Love actually kind of introduced Linda Murray into he trained her when she first started.
Oh, really? Linda's she's just a rock star.
Yeah, I think they kind of dated. He wouldn't come out and say it, but
Maybe we should get Linda on and we can ask her.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Maybe that's something in the future. We'll have Linda. We'll bring Ron on to see what they say.
But see, she's really good at this with the interviews. So if she'll be very smooth. If she doesn't if she doesn't want to say anything, she'll know exactly how to handle it. She's a pro.
Yeah, good. Oh, cool. Is Matt Cook your trainer?
So Matt is no, okay. So my coach is Shelby Starnes. So
Okay.
Shelby, I've been with him since I've been a pro. So he's the one who prepped me for the term pro, but Matt is does some of my in-person training.
Okay.
So I met Matt at my gym. Basically, I watched him train people, and I was like, I like what I saw. Like, he wasn't on his phone. You know what I mean? He wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
He was just very focused, and he just pushed everybody past failure. And I remember that was when I was, determined to turn pro. I just had the baby, and the thing is, after a kid, like, I felt like I lost my legs, and I feel like pregnancy takes a toll on your ass and hamstrings. And I knew that, like, I know the top of me would be in shape quickly and would bounce back fast. And I didn't quite have the same faith in my legs. And that's where Matt came in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wish I could blame that on my legs pregnancy.
You need to train with Matt. I'm serious. I bought him a shirt that says "Evil Bastard," and I'd make him wear it while training clients. Yeah,
I've been training. I got a pro coach that she's a pro down here in Florida that I train with, and he's been helping me with my legs because I did nationals last year. I got 4th, and I'm going to try again next year. But I'm 6'4", so I'm really tall.
Yeah,
and my legs are really tall. So
there's a lot of muscle you need to put on a 6'4" frame.
Yeah, I just broke 280 for my first time. I'm 285 right now, and my goal is to get to 300 before I start dieting. So I'm getting there.
It's hard with long limbs in general.
It's very hard.
I'm
in my 40s now, and I'm just now getting muscle maturity. I think my muscles are actually looking the way they should. So we'll see.
I have like long ass monkey arms. They're like, so it's kind of in a short bicep. So I'm only 5'3", so I could imagine just.
When you see your pictures, though, you don't look short. I guess that's a lot of pros when you see them. They don't look as short as they are.
It depends. I mean, if there's one thing I enjoy doing, I like to judge and watch and look at physiques, and I like to look at posing, and I'd like to judge one day as well, but. You see some short people and they might have, it's all their proportions. Do they have like short arms and short legs? Like I'm only 5'3", but I have long arms, long legs, and a very short torso. If I had like that long torso, it'd look, and shorter limbs, I wouldn't look quite as tall on stage.
Let me pull your Instagram back up again.
Oh, I wish I put a picture of, I had this great shot once of me, and I was like on stage next to 2 really tall girls, and I look.
This picture here looks great with your pregnancy and post pregnancy.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
That picture was like, I think she was born like a week later.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was awesome. Well, you know what it is though? It's like I had 4 years to think, about like who do I want to work with as a coach? Like that kind of stuff. Like,
who does your photography?
So this here, this is Kent. I may have him tagged on
KL Fitness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Kent actually works with Wings. He's one of the Wings of Strength photographers. So that's how I know him. And he had posted on Instagram that he was going to be looking to do shoots in Arizona or in the Phoenix area. And I was actually hoping to fly there anyway because do you know Sheila Black? So Sheila's like a female bodybuilder. Her posing is
I've heard the name.
her posing is outstanding. Like I've never seen anybody whose posing routines are better than hers. And she's now in Mesa, Arizona. So I was like, listen, I'm in LA and the flights are like less than $100. I'm like, maybe rather than just doing it through WhatsApp video, which is what we were doing, I was like, maybe it'd be kind of cool if I fly in there and work on our routine. So it just so happens that Kent had that post about doing shoots. So basically I flew in for 2 days, and the picture that you were on, that was us in Sedona. And Sedona is like
great.
gorgeous.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it looks beautiful.
But that shoot kicked my ass because it's like 8 hours. I mean, it's hot there, and I'm like, I'm in heels. I'm like hiking. I'm like climbing stuff, kicking the heels off.
Heels in a red dress. I can't imagine doing it, man.
But it was worth it for the good shot.
Yeah. So you said you're going to try to qualify for the Olympia this year.
Yeah, I mean that's the. Oops, I lost your screen. Let me pull your face back up. There we go. That's the plan. I mean, so the thing is, I made it to our old Olympia, right? Rising Phoenix. And the first year I was an invite because I won the Ms. International. And the second year I did qualify through points. So now I'm like, now that the Olympia is back, I kind of want to taste that, see what that's about. So
you get to come to Florida.
So I mean, I'm doing the Chicago Pro, which is in Atlanta, and that's going to be at the end of July. And depending on how that goes, will determine what I do next. But
yeah. Now, do you think the Olympia is going to stay in Florida?
I don't think so.
No. Do you want it, or you rather have it come back to Vegas?
I'd rather in Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing.
I've had mixed answers to that. Some want it to stay and some don't like it.
Why do they like it? Like, what is it? Is it just because they're like East Coast and they don't feel like flying?
I guess it's more family oriented. Being in Orlando.
Yeah, that's what I don't. I want to leave my I want to leave my kid at home. I want to go to Vegas, and then afterwards I want to go to the pool party where I'm like tan and jacked, and I could pretend I don't have like mom responsibilities waiting for me at home. Like that's the whole point.
Yeah. Whether here it's you finish and you go see Mickey.
Yeah, I mean that's cool and all. I'm gonna go see Mickey with my little one anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. You got Disneyland out there. So, have you been to?
Let's not forget Vegas has good food.
Oh yeah, I love Vegas. I've gone every year. I was actually last year when COVID hit. I had tickets to go to Vegas. I had to get refunds and all kinds of crap. It was a mess. But the good thing for me in Florida, everything's here, and Orlando is right in my backyard, and that's why I did nationals and did some other shows too. So it worked out good for me.
I mean, I'm originally from Jersey, and as you might know, we're all snowbirds there, which means we either have like a place in Florida or we retire, move to Florida, we have family in Florida. It's like our other home. So, if I'm there, I have my grandmother lives there, and I have cousins and aunts and uncles and stuff. So it's not terrible, but I'll have a great time, but I definitely would like for it to be back in Vegas. That's the other thing too, is you could do fun, like go to shows and just do other crap. Like you can just do a horrible job in your competition and you're like, whatever, I'm gonna see Cirque du Soleil tomorrow.
Yeah, whatever. Hey, I made it to Vegas. I'm here. Yeah,
I'm gonna go gamble. Let's go gamble.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So who did you kind of look up to as far as female bodybuilders? Who was your favorite, or kind of your inspiration?
That's so interesting you say that, because everybody talks about who their favorite, like they grew up like idolizing some bodybuilders. I really didn't grow up idolizing bodybuilders. I liked American Gladiators. That was like my thing. So
I used to love that show. Yeah.
Like my dad like used to bring me to the gym with him, and I thought like, I always thought, kind of grew up thinking it was cool and stuff, but I wasn't like I idolized specific bodybuilders. But I mean, of course, Linda. Everybody loves Linda. She's just a class act. And the fact that she's such a a nice person and beautiful and stuff doesn't hurt. But Heather Armbrust, who doesn't compete now, I feel like she's gonna laugh when I tell her I spoke about her here. I think she had like phenomenal physique and just gorgeous legs, and just she's somebody that decided that she didn't want to compete anymore. But when I look at pictures of her now, like or even on her Instagram now, and she's in such outrageously good shape for somebody that's not competing. And I'm like, I'm working my ass off and I don't look as good as you do, like just casually at the gym. It's crazy.
Yeah. What year was she at Olympia? I'm looking on here.
Good question. And she also,
did she win Miss Olympia?
No.
Or she just competed. Okay. Yeah, I just got the winners here. I was looking at before you came on. And let me see here. Did you know a fun fact that Miss Olympia started in 1980?
Didn't it used to be in New Jersey too?
Well, it doesn't say that. So the first 20 years, it was a standalone event. It never was with the actual Mr. Olympia.
I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot, like, people who don't really know much about the sport, when they first removed female bodybuilding from the Olympia, I was kind of like, they weren't at the same venue for years. It was like years that it wasn't like that. It used to be separate. And I believe it was in Atlanta. I believe there was at least one of them was men's or women's was in Atlantic City. And then when we created, or when they create, I'm the one who created it. When Wings I say we because I associate myself with the brand. But when they came out with the Rising Phoenix, I'm like, this is our world championship. These are IFBB judges. This isn't like Mike from the gym judging, These are the same judges that are at the Olympia that are there. It's just a separate venue. But, that now we have the name back, and I know that it means something to a lot of people.
Yeah. Now, is there different weight classes in the IFBB like there is in the amateurs, or no? Is it only one?
There are, and it's interesting you bring that up, because I didn't get to watch the interview, but I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it was like a FemFlex Friday, but I know recently there were some people discussing whether there should be weight classes at the pro level, meaning like a lightweight, like just the two of them, and just that whether that would be beneficial to the division or not. I'm not really sure. I'd kind of really want to hear what they have to say about it. I might be one of those like borderline people, in term, because I don't know what the cutoff weight is. Because I am like a little bit shorter than like you look at and there are some tall girls in our top 5. But
yeah, I saw this last year. I watched a little bit of it when it was in Orlando here. So
yeah,
it's too bad Iris couldn't make it.
Yeah, I know. I'm wondering if, I know there's some health related issues, but I'm wondering whether or not that could change this year. Like,
I don't know, how old is she?
Good question.
Yeah,
we find out.
Yeah, I know she's at least in her 40s.
For sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, if a quick Google search is correct, she was 46.
Okay.
I believe, but
she's about the same age as Sean Roden. So,
well, I'm trying to think of what place she was. I know she's top 5 Olympian this year. Irene Anderson is in her. She's like 50. I feel terrible if I'm off. I think she's like 54, 53, 54. And that's pretty awesome for somebody to just like, oh, I'm going to be in my 50s and just get better now and be a top 5 Olympian. So
yeah, that's like she's like a female Dexter Jackson.
Yep.
So do you think that women's bodybuilding now is going to make a comeback? Do you foresee it starting to grow again?
Yeah, it already is. And there was actually it was a FemFlex Friday interview with Lena and Linda did with some of with us. I think it was Steve Weinberger, and I think Sandy, I think the head judges they were talking to them about the divisions, and basically we have a lot of girls in the physique division that they're putting on muscle. It's just, if you're going to do something for years, you're going to grow. There's going to be, and now a lot of them are moving into the bodybuilding division. So each year, I mean, we're seeing more and more. In fact, some of our new brand ambassadors are girls that are making the switch. So
I still haven't seen it on the local show level a lot, though. There's a few shows that have it. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, there's a lot of strategy that, and things that groups like Wings of Strength need to consider. They put on a lot of pro shows. They give us a platform, but at the same point, I know out here, in fact, I think when I didn't compete for a couple of years and I was like, oh, am I going to need to qualify for my show? There was nothing with my division out on the Coast. So what it seems like what's happening is you're getting like, pros that are switching over, but like from the bottom, there's no bodybuilding. So they're just going into physique. So that seems to be what's happening. They're going into physique at the NPC level, turning pro, and then after, depending on their development, they might be better suited towards bodybuilding.
Yeah. And I want to ask you about that. Do you think women are a little discouraged about putting on that much muscle?
I think some are, but I mean,
I can only imagine you taking your daughter to Sunday birthday party and the other moms are kind of like, like, hey, who is this? Because I know I get looked at by the guys and stuff when I go to a birthday party. I can only imagine the conversation.
Well, I've worked as a teacher for 18 years, so it's even more fun when it's like the first day of class and they're like, "What the hell is this?"
And I work at schools. The school resource officers that are assigned to all the schools, I'm in charge of all of them. So I visit all the schools, and all the kids, when they see me, they're like, "Oh my God."
The kids always think it's cool. Like it's only like adults that we become like jerks. Kids are always cool about stuff. But I
mean, I see, as a bodybuilder, I see the beauty in it, the art and everything. But every people that aren't in this industry, they kind of look at us different.
Yeah, and it's you're right, because I remember that, but I feel like maybe I put myself in such a bubble at this point. Like even at my gym, I'm like, well, sure, I'm more muscular than other women at the gym, but it's still like a culture of people that are like not really phased by it. So it is sort of a little bit of a bubble that I'm in when I think about it. I do think some are. I encountered it like even with my own family, right? So when I was off season and I'm short and have a little more body fat, so now I look like a little fridge. But then when I'm in shape, it's like, I know I might look big, but I'm like, I could fit into like a size 2 shorts. Like we're pretty tiny. Like I think we're pretty damn tiny when we're in shape.
We are, but everybody looks at us like, oh my God, you're huge. I'm like, dude, I'm like only 220 pounds when I'm normally like 280.
Or like even like my mom, I remember she would, it depends. Like if I were if she was looking at bodybuilding poses where it's designed to make me look huge, or I'm doing like a lat spread and I'm trying to show this dramatic difference between, taper, that's like a little more off-putting. But then when she would see this, like me on the, I'm sure somewhere on my Instagram, one of these like, or maybe put it in my story, like in a bikini on the beach lounging, like suddenly then it's okay because it looks like feminine and pretty, and she'd be like, oh, you stay like this. I'm like, stay like this? Like, this is not sustainable. Like I, having some body fat and not being cranky and hungry all the time is, it's not the way you want to be all the time. That's
no, sure. I don't know about you. My family knows for about 16 weeks, I'm kind of hit or miss. I don't come around that much. And they know, they ask me, are you dieting? Because I'll get an attitude with them on the phone or something. I'm like, yes, I'm dieting.
So I'm curious, do you tend to avoid social things, or do you like show up and you just you try to be normal and you just bring your food and all of that, or is it like easier to just isolate your?
It's easier to isolate, I think. See, I have two things. I'm a police officer and I'm big. I work. So if they don't ask me about working out, they're asking me about cop stuff. So and after doing that for 20 years, it gets not that I don't enjoy helping people. I don't mind answering questions, but that's why I try to go to different gyms. That way people know you in there. They talk to you, they ask you diet questions and workout questions. And for me, they ask me cop questions. And it's like I'm 30 minutes into the gym and I only have an hour. So
You're speaking to my soul right now. That's
yeah.
I've had the same thing. I'm usually on the fence about like, do I want to try and be a normal person and be around people and go to social functions, or is it just easier to stay home and not have to deal with like the anxiety of like okay, the other day I was at with family and they broke out butter cake.
Oh,
Like
geez.
I'm pretty sure it was like from Mastro's, like the smell, and I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'll only have another LaCroix, and I'm like, sucks. I just want to be home.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I can't get into that stuff. I can't eat pizza. I try and I get one slice down and I'm like, I just can't do this. I just.
Yeah. Well, my daughter still eats like kids food, and it pisses me off when she doesn't want to eat it. And I'm like, I would do anything for this macaroni and cheese right now.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not want a DiGiorno pizza? Like, I'm always in the mood for that. But.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when my kids were younger, they're older now, but yeah, when I was dieting, I would offer them things and they wouldn't want it. I'm like, no, you want it. I'm telling you, because I just wanted to see it, or watch them eat it.
They just eat it, so I don't eat it.
Yeah. Let me at least smell it while I'm eating my chicken breast.
You're talking about people with the questions. That's the other thing. Like sometimes, especially when you're doing a lot of cardio and you want to be able to do it right after your workout, it ends up being a long ass workout and you're hungry and you want to get out and you're like, you don't want to not be a nice person, but you're like, God damn it. Like that's like a 10-minute, like set back 10 minutes by talking to you. And now you want to ask something and now you want to ask something. And I'm like, so I get kind of torn between like being friendly and just being like, I just had a lady at my gym today, like, she kind of cornered me, and I'm like, damn it, in the locker room. But then I felt bad because she was basically talking about, she used to compete, I think, in like figure. She's got injuries, surgeries, and she was just saying like, I mean, she had tears in her eyes, basically talking about how much she misses it and how she can't do that and her body's not the same, and that she sees me and it really makes her miss it, and that like I need to appreciate, like we complain about being tired and hungry, but at the same point, we're supposed to know that it's like, in a sense, a privilege that you're healthy enough that you have the time to, and you have the time to do all of this.
Right.
But you're like, it's kind of hard to feel like that all the time. And I'm listening to this lady who's like wishing that she was hungry and dieting. And I'm like, oh man, I feel terrible.
Yeah. We can't wait for it to be over, but then we do miss it, as we compete.
Yeah. Like when I'm dieting, I'll, sometimes I'm just like too busy to do stuff, but I'm like for example, like the photo shoot I did in Sedona, I'm like, no, I'm just gonna make it happen, because then I'm gonna be pudgy and be pissed off that I didn't take pictures of myself when I was in shape. Like I won't really, I typically don't take a lot of pictures. I've been really trying to, I think as a brand ambassador, there's a little bit more of an expectation for me to engage more and to put myself out there more. So I'm doing a better job, but a lot of the time I'm just like,
Yeah, I was the same way. I recently got picked up by Gaspari, and every now and then I would throw a picture on Instagram or something like that. But now it's like I do pictures every day. Got to do so many posts, got to do so many messages, got to do so many likes. You got to build your Instagram fan base. It's hard.
It is. It's kind of exhausting.
It is, because I know now I find myself every morning I wake up now, I pick my damn phone up and I start going through and I start checking my messages. I do all my likes and all my response to my likes and do my posts and check my emails from Gaspari and all the things and look at what kind of views my shows are getting and stuff like that. And then I have my full-time job. You know, I do this in the morning while I'm getting ready for work, you know. So, you know, you teach full time. So
I just resigned because I'm like, I'm done here.
Oh, so yeah, good.
Yeah.
So you got a full sponsor now? Is that why?
Well, I'm an MBA candidate at Pepperdine, and I graduate in August. So it was just, that was part of why I didn't. So basically, I decided, like, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, and I just decided I was going to go in a completely different direction. And I would never want to be an administrator in education. There's like just everything about it is unappealing to me.
No.
I mean, I love, the kids are awesome. They're fun. I mean, I've never, in 18 years, I've had like no issues with parents, and I love all the kids. Like, I can honestly say that I left this thing thinking I love teenagers. I find them hilarious, and their parents are super cool. So, however, I've done as much as I can. Yeah. And I'm, as somebody who is a bodybuilder, like, who didn't start competing until their 30s, I, kind of goal directed, and I'm not like the type that just wants to do the same thing for a really long period of time. I need to be like, okay, so now what? So now what is go back to school. And that's part of why in 2020 I was like, okay, I can't teach, mom, compete. It's just too many, just not enough hours. I'd end up ignoring my child and stuff. So so I just figured it was just a couple months, and I'm like, I could finish out the rest of the year, or I can actually compete, resign, and so basically I'm going to graduate like right after I compete, all at once, and then I have to like get a job. Then the party's over.
Yeah. Hey, you never know. You may pick up a sponsor and you won't have to.
Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I'm a marketing concentration, so.
Yeah. What's your goals? What's your goals for the next 5 years?
Oh, well, okay. I would like to. So here's one of the other things too. Sometimes, like, when I turned pro, I didn't even think past that. Like, I wasn't like, I want to be an Olympian. I was just like, get my pro card, get my pro card, get my pro card. That, like, when I made my debut the day after and got 4th in my debut, my brain didn't conceive that. I just wanted the pro card. I didn't know if I'd actually be able to even compete or where I would measure up. I didn't know if I'd be competitive. It's one thing to turn pro. It's another thing to be a competitive pro. So I didn't really know where I measured up. And it wasn't until I made my debut and I'm like, okay, I'm making my debut in the top 5 and got best poser. I'm like, this is not terrible. So then it was like, well, what do I want to do now? So what I want to do right now in bodybuilding is make it to the Olympia. And if it doesn't happen this year, I will try again. But the other goal was to, get the MBA and to get and to pivot into a career where I'd be able to utilize the marketing concentration in something that is impactful and kind of gets me excited. And it'd be really cool if there was some element of health, fitness, and nutrition, just because I feel like that's something I'm passionate about and would be able to contribute in a way that maybe a different MBA candidate couldn't. So that would be really cool, but it's not necessary.
Well, with bodybuilding and you said a degree in marketing, was it in marketing? I mean, you could almost start your own supplement company. You got the background for it, for sure.
See, who knew I'd be come on here and I'd be getting like career counseling and
Yeah.
everything
I was
else.
just thinking, yeah, that's a good idea. We might have to talk after the show.
I mean, the thing is, I'm so open that that's why I'm trying to like just do different things, because it might open doors or it might just spark ideas, and as opposed to like being laser. I mean, listen, certain things you need to be laser focused on, but others you don't want to do it with blinders, where you
Yeah.
have like something really great, an opportunity presenting, but you're like shutting it out because you think you're only supposed to head in one specific direction.
Think about it. I'm sure there's got to be one, but I'm not thinking of. There is no supplement company that has a female bodybuilder as its owner. Is there? I can't think of one. Like, Rich Gaspari's got his, and who else? Phil Heath's got his own company. Ronnie Coleman's got his own company. Yeah, no, but there's no females with their own supplement company that I can think of.
Now we're gonna go, that's gonna take me down to Google search.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Huh. Now, when you get rich, now remember me. Remember this show that you put the idea in your head.
Remember this pivotal moment.
Remember this moment. We're always looking for sponsors here on Talking Fitness. So who is your you have a rivalry? Anybody? Obviously in good fun. Who?
It's so interesting you say that, because I saw recently in Instagram I was looking, and in the physique division, actually let me see if I can pull this sucker up. Like I feel like certain things like with rivalries might be, maybe I think it's a little more prevalent with the men's divisions. But
you don't want to call out Iris or anything like that right now?
you know what? I don't have delusions of grandeur. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. I know I'm pretty kind of level-headed. So what, like, I know that in the physique division there was a post recently. Is it still up here, from the current Ms. Olympia in the physique division, Sarah, where she was sort of like challenging the former physique champion. Let me see if that's on here. Maybe it's gone now, but I was kind of like surprised. I'm like, what? Oh yeah, there it is. So Shanique Grant, I guess she was the Miss Physique Olympia like a few years in a row, or 2 years in a row. And her post says, "I'm all about competition." And she says to her, "You bring great competition to the stage. Let's give fans something they really want. Here's what I have for you. You come back this year and face me at the 2021 Olympia. And if you win, I give you $20,000 cash out of pocket. Willing to put the money in escrow now with anyone you choose. But if you lose, you give me your 2019 Olympia gold medal. We're still 20 weeks out. You have plenty of time to get ready. Let's go." And I was like, what is this? I'm like forwarding it to like Sean Ray and people like, what the hell? I'm like, is she crazy?
That's crazy.
But the thing is, Shanique had said she was retired, like when she lost this year, but she said that she was ready to start a family and that she was retired. Now, obviously, I don't think a person, especially considering I'm a lot older than her, needs to retire to have a baby, but maybe that's her plan. That's cool. So I was kind of surprised that she was calling her out, because it wasn't like she had intentions in returning to the stage. But and I'm looking at the comments and I'm laughing, because I'm more like mind blown, but I'm laughing at like all the men. The guys are like such meatheads about it. They're like, yeah, like all excited. And I'm like, I don't think my division does this, because we were already an endangered species. So the last thing I want to do is like shit talk my sister, because we all need each other. Like when I turned pro, nobody was like who's this little bitch? They were just like, oh great, we need more women like you, or we need.
So they took you right in.
Hell yeah. Like I mean, you know, Kelly Trevino was the reigning champ, and the day I turned pro, she like pulled me aside and said really nice stuff about how she was in the back of the audience and that I like reached all the way in the back in terms of presence. And I'm like, this is like a big deal when you're like a rookie pro and you have the world champ like telling you something really, you know, motivating like that. You know, a bunch of women that I fangirled over were like sending me messages saying positive things. So I know it's not quite as exciting for some fans to think of all this like sisterhood crap, but the fact of the matter is, it's sort of how I view it. But I don't know. I mean, I just look at it like I don't know, you know, I don't know who's going to show up. Even if you think you know, you'll have somebody in the show before that didn't plan on competing, but they got second and they think they should have got first, and they're going to hop back on stage like a week later and surprise you. So I don't really think about that as much. I just think about what I need to do. And be honest with you, like I don't really get head games don't work well on me. I'm very like focused on myself, I guess. You know, because it's like we're apples and oranges, especially at our division. Like we don't all look the same. Like I'm not gonna have the same mass ever as you know, Alicia Young, and she's the other 5'3" pro. You know, she's still apples and oranges. You know, I just look at it like what do I have and what can I do with myself? You know, I'm not the biggest one there, but I know I have you know, so this is the other thing too. It's like in the sport now we have like social media. So how popular has nothing to do with how well you actually do on stage. You know, there's a lot of people that might be really popular and they actually haven't done that well, but you know, maybe they're really entertaining or attractive, or maybe have like freakish body parts, or maybe whatever the case is. And
do you think there's politics involved?
I think everybody thinks so, and I don't.
No,
I don't think necessarily. Like or maybe just in my division. You know, I don't want to give excuses. I want to be undeniable. So, like for example, I was from when I've done USAs and got second, and or even the first time I got into the first call out as a heavyweight, I was so excited. Nobody knew who the heck I was. I was from Jersey. I was competing on the West Coast. I didn't need to know anybody or any of that crap. Just be undeniable.
Is that why you went out to California, is to pursue this?
No, I mean, I
guess we should have asked that at the beginning. But
yeah, no, I met my husband in Vegas, and he was from LA and had a business, and I was a teacher, and I was like, I could quickly and easily get a license to work in California. I have a master's in Spanish, and that's what I teach. So it's like a little bit easier with an advanced degree to get a license in another state. Like you just take a test. So that's kind of what brought me out. And I don't have other family out here. They're all in Jersey. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of like it on the West Coast, and I liked competing on the West Coast. I loved being able to do USAs. Was awesome because again, you're in Vegas after USAs.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, you know, second call out, that sucks. Let me go to the pool party and get drunk, you know.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is you people do.
Yeah. Like I said, that year I competed in California, I loved it. It was one of the best shows I ever did. It was really cool. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really think I mean, I know some people can bring up examples of politics. I do think that
most of the interviews that I do, it's mostly guys that are retired that say that. I don't think anybody that I've competed that is currently competing, or I'm sorry, anybody I've interviewed that is currently competing has said anything about politics, which is understandable,
Well, maybe they're afraid to say
maybe,
something like that.
maybe.
But here's the thing. Okay.
You know.
So if I'm a bikini competitor and if you're on a national level show, for me, it's kind of hard to tell the difference between a lot. I just see a bunch of beautiful women that all have like that. There's not too many. There's not like. I think it's very difficult to judge. So I imagine, and there's tons of them. So I imagine when you're bringing in herds of people, the politics end could simply be the judge seeing familiar faces. In fact, I remember when I competed in Jersey, my friend who is a figure competitor, who is also a twin, said that she would, instead of buying different bedazzled posing suits, she'd make sure she did lots of shows and she wore that same one because she wanted to be remembered.
Really?
She wanted to have her face be seen enough so that way when she got to those bigger shows, boom, now she gets pulled to that first call out. Or rather than being overlooked. So I think when you're in a smaller division like bodybuilding, it's harder to be overlooked.
How many suits do you own?
I
won't ask you how much.
If we do, we'll throw like a link up here that's like
yeah.
I'm getting 3 of them right now. I'm getting a new one for prejudging made, my plain one, and then I'm getting 2 expensive ones for finals. So if I do more than one show, I'll have a different one. And then in like storage, I probably have still maybe like 4.
Yeah, people in this industry just don't realize how much those cost.
They really don't.
They don't know how much money we spend on, well, you guys spend more, females spend more than we do, but
it's insane. One of my 2011, when I brought my friends, my non-bodybuilding friends, to my first show, and I remember
it's always fun watching them in the audience.
They're the best. Like there's nobody better to be at a show than somebody who knows nothing about bodybuilding.
Yeah.
That was like fantastic. But yeah, first of all, they loved seeing, they were doing spray tanning there. They were like, what the hell? I just saw this guy nuts and he came back. And then I'm like, yes, that's a tan. They were also impressed with the men's bodybuilding girlfriends that were like, this is New Jersey too, right? So the women were just like, just the vulgarity and the passion. But I think the thing that she was impressed with, I remember, was the posing suits. And when I told her how expensive they were, she was like, I'm gonna get a bedazzler and this is my business. I'm gonna start making them. And I was like, you should, and you can charge a lot of money.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you really could. So I Googled female-owned supplement companies. The first one that comes up is Rainbow Light Supplements. It's a women's multivitamin.
Sounds hardcore.
Yeah, Rainbow Light. And that's about it. Sawgrass. It's all like vitamins, shakes, that like that Shakeology stuff and all that.
Yeah.
But there is actually no branded supplements like a protein powder or a pre-workout or a amino acid that I can find that is owned by a female. I'm sure if there is, when some people watch this show, I'll get some messages. But yeah, you never know.
Rainbow Light. Look, they should throw you some products. You just gave them a little plug there.
Yeah, really.
I'm sure you could use the Rainbow Light product.
Yeah. Well, my views aren't exactly tipping the scale yet. It's growing. I just started this podcast in March. So what are we? Almost in June now. And I've already got picked up by Gaspari. I've interviewed Rich Gaspari, John Romano. I don't want to give away. I got some good guests. I got some Olympians lined up.
Well, what made you want to do it?
I don't know. I just started watching. Actually, my inspiration is Joe Rogan and Fuad. Those two are actually my inspiration. I always I started with Joe Rogan. I really love the his shows with the guys that talk about like aliens and stuff like that. I don't know. I just love watching that stuff. And then I got into Fuad. I started watching him and stuff and all his different channels. And and I know that my career is actually started, let me back up. I started this as a local. I just wanted to do local. I was going to interview like gym owners, personal trainers, and a couple guys around here who own some small supplement companies and stuff like that. And then before you know it, I'm getting all these pro bodybuilders and stuff that I'm starting to want, reaching out to come on the show, show promoters. And, then I got Rich Gaspari to come on. I got on with Gaspari, John Romano, Ron Love. I've got like, after you, I have 4 more lined up this week. They're all, 2 of them are Olympian bodybuilders, and the other 2 are working on it. Kind of like you. They're going to be there. Yeah. So before you win the Olympia, I can always say I interviewed you before you won. So.
Well, see, the other thing too about wanting to do Olympia, because we still do have the Rising Phoenix, and I told you that I didn't apply, but it's when I think it just sounds cooler to be an Olympian. You're like the Rising Phoenix was our world championship, so yeah, I've been in our world championship twice, my rookie year and the year after. Doesn't sound as cool to be saying I'm like an Olympian.
Yeah. Like, it's just that small circle, our fan base isn't very big. It's not as big as it should be. It's getting bigger.
You know what? I got to tell you, I was in Morocco in 2019, and bodybuilding was huge. Everybody wanted to talk to me about bodybuilding, and it wasn't.
Ever been to Ireland?
What was that?
You ever been to Ireland as a bodybuilder?
No.
I competed in Ireland. There was every 2 years is police and fire games, and it's all Olympic events, and they have bodybuilding in it. So of course I did the California one, New York, Canada, and then I competed in Ireland, in Dublin.
Oh my God, I'm jealous.
Those people over there love body. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, that's Morocco. Cool.
But yeah, I was a celebrity there. Everybody was taking pictures with me. The arena was full. Everybody's cheering, clapping. It was just amazing. Best time of my life.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like.
Yeah. And what were you saying about Morocco now? I'm sorry.
It was I feel like it's an up and coming thing there. First of all, the gyms I went to were really nice.
Yeah. I think the Middle East has always been popular, hasn't it?
With bodybuilding. And the thing that was interesting for me is that it was men and women alike. It wasn't just like men that looked like they were gym goers. Like the hotel staff were like, first of all, the Rising Phoenix was somehow televised there, so people like saw it already and knew who the heck I was, which was really cool. I'm like, like it was interesting. But yeah, it was like lots of women were thinking bodybuilding was really cool and wanting to take pictures and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and it was so great. I remember like being in the street and like the market, and some guy was just yelling Ronnie Coleman and hitting like a most muscular. I'm like, I love when like random people just like weird out and start flexing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure the men over there, they love all the women bodybuilders too.
Oh yeah, they thought they were, but the same point, and this is something that was a little unexpected. Everybody was incredibly respectful. It wasn't like this preconceived idea that you're outside the United States and you're going to get a bunch of aggressive, creepy dudes that are disrespectful. Not even close.
No.
And not even just because it was in person, because a lot of them reached out to me through Instagram and stuff, and still, just very polite, respectful, cool people that just were being supportive. So yeah, that's cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, you have to thank Big Frank for me reaching out to you, because him and I talk here and there, and I saw a post he put, one of your training videos. He was asking everybody to come support you, and I can't remember exactly what the post said. I said, "Ooh, there's some." I haven't interviewed a female bodybuilder yet.
So Frank was actually quite helpful because I ended up winning that contest.
Mhm.
So basically, the brand ambassadors have been required to turn in videos, and they're supposed to be like, you could do them on your cell phone,
Mhm.
meaning like a continuous clip, not editing, because I guess that might be
Mhm.
expensive to get 10 of those. But anyway, each week there's a different theme, and then people vote. And Frank was nice enough to share it and ask
Mhm.
like his followers to vote.
Mhm.
So that seemed to be effective
Yeah.
because I won.
Yeah. I like him. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Yeah. Cool. Well, I don't know. We've been talking for over an hour already. Time flies when you're having fun. So,
I'm a talk.
any words of wisdom for any up and coming female bodybuilders, female competitors?
What would be words of wisdom? I usually have like some like quick
Yeah.
thing ready for me, and I really
Uh-huh.
don't. I do, although I have this bitter sarcasm with the over emphasis on inspirational stuff online. Like everybody thinks they're inspirational or all that.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I just, my thing was like to be your own, right? You
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
really need somebody else to
Mm-hmm.
do that, to be your own inspiration. But in
Mm-hmm.
the sport, I think really just ask questions,
Mm-hmm.
find mentors. There's a lot of people and people willing to help you, and I don't know. I mean, I think the thing is, it's probably easier today than it was at another, because there's so much more access to people. Where like years ago, it's like if you're interested, you can just rely on that guy from your gym or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
ask the gym owners, and maybe they know somebody, and uh, and you're not really limited to that nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can, now just like with Amazon, where you can shop products. I
Mm-hmm.
think in this sport, whatever it is that you're interested in, whether it's information, whether it's coaches, the world is your oyster, and you just need to do some digging. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's kind of an advantage that people have.
Cool.
But at the same point, not as much in the sense of a little bit too much emphasis on needing to be like an influencer instead of actually just learning how to train and being a good bodybuilder. There's like a
Mm-hmm.
little extra because a lot of people, like, I know people that are like not very they're more introvert, and they don't really want to like do social media, but they're like a
Mm-hmm.
beast in the gym and have like a gorgeous physique.
Yeah.
So now there's like this whole other element that really wasn't necessarily part of the sport
Mm-hmm.
the previous time.
Yeah,
But
it's definitely changing. Cool. Well, best of luck to you.
thank you.
See you at the
9 weeks.
Olympia.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
plan.
that's the plan. Now you'll make it. I know you will. So when you do qualify for the Olympia, right before the Olympia, I want to have you on the show again.
Sounds good. No
Awesome.
pressure there.
Yeah, no pressure.
All right. Well, you take care and have a great evening.
All right, you too. Thanks again for coming on.
Bye-bye.
Okay.